Hello, welcome to another episode of Eye on Mortgage. Are you selling your home or in the process of purchasing a property and there are tenants in there? Well, stay tuned. I will be covering what you need to know about circumstances like this. Welcome to Eye on Mortgage, where we keep you updated on what's happening in the mortgage industry and what you need to know about the mortgage process. Are you a first-time home buyer? Looking to refinance? Interested in a private mortgage? Perhaps you want to know more about purchasing a new build or the reverse mortgage product. Whatever your interest, stay tuned to Eye on Mortgage. Oh, and please take a moment to like, share. All right, so let's dive in. So in Ontario, when a home with tenants are sold, the tenants do not have to leave automatically, even if they have, if their lease has expired. All right, so keep that in mind. They do not have to leave. The Residential Tenancies Act protects tenants, and the new owners must follow legal procedures if they want to move out. So it's very important to understand that there are certain guidelines and policies that you must follow. So you as a seller or the home buyer does not put yourself in any situation that's going to impact you negatively. All right. Now, what happens when a property with tenants are sold? So if the tenant has a lease, okay, the tenant has the right to stay until the lease ends, even if the property is sold. All right, so they do have the right to stay. The new owner must, of course, honor that lease that's in place, and then they become the new landlord. That's basically how it is. All right, so can the owner ask the tenants to leave? Yes. The owners can ask the tenants to leave. The new homeowners can ask the tenants to leave, but only under certain conditions. All right, so what are those conditions? One of the main conditions is that if you are actually moving in or close family members moving in, if that is the case, then you have to serve an N12 notice. So you got to go about this the right way. All right. So you got to serve an N12 notice. Now, the tenant must be given at least 60 days notice aligned with the rental period. And the buyer must intend to live there for at least 1 year and provide compensation of 1 month's rent. All right, so that is one of the conditions. The other conditions, if there's going to be renovation or demolition happening to the property. All right, so in that case, then an N13 notice would have to be served. But keep this in mind though, right? In some cases, the tenants can actually move back in after the renovation has been completed. So you may think, I've got the tenants out and now I can take possession of the property. Not always the case, all right? In some circumstances, the tenants can actually move back in after the renovation has been completed. So definitely keep that in mind. Another condition would be if there's an agreement between the renters and of course, the new homeowners or probably even, the homeowner overall, right? So whether it be in this situation, of course, we're speaking of those who might be selling the property, but once you're selling the property, of course, then, if someone is purchasing that property, they just have to understand that they're taking on the tenants, and they will, of course, have to deal with the proper procedures if they want the tenants to move out. All right. So what can be arranged, of course, is some agreement between the tenant, and that could be cash for keys. All right. It's not, something that is required, but in some cases, of course, it might be something that gives the tenants a little bit of incentive to leave. And so that might be something that might work, right? So it might be negotiating some sort of some funds to pay the tenants, and that's something that could also be looked into as well. So that's another condition. So keep in mind, once again, as I said, this is not required by law, but it's somewhat of an incentive that can work on both sides. All right, for favor for both sides. So what if the tenant actually refuses to leave? All right. So if the tenant refused to leave, because you have to keep in mind, of course, that you want to make sure that you do things the right way. So if the tenant does not move out by the termination date, the landlord must file an eviction notice. All right, they must file an eviction notice with the landlord and tenants board. All right, landlord and tenant board. So the tenant cannot be forcibly removed without a landlord and tenant board order. So do keep that in mind. And if the landlord gives a fake eviction notice, all right, and then turns around and rents the property to someone else, the tenants can actually file a complaint, and the landlord can definitely be fined. Okay, so once again, you want to make sure that you are going about things the right way. You don't want to jump ahead. You don't want to. We get it. It's your home. We get it. But there are laws, there are guidelines that are in place, and you must follow. You must follow to make sure that you don't put yourself into any trouble. Okay. So if you want to find out more information, definitely do your own research. Do not act upon your own emotions. This will give you at least some information that will kind of guide you in the right direction. But overall, make sure that you're going about things the right way. All right. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right. Keep tuned. Stay tuned as we, of course, provide information about what's happening in the real estate industry overall. Enjoy the rest of your day.